So while most brands are perfecting their super foam formula or playing around with different plate placements, Hoka is sticking to EVA foam and a flat bottom loaded plate. So does the Carbon X3 stack up against the competition, or is Hoka falling behind? After about 30 miles on this shoe, that doesn't meet my full review standard, but I am ready to give you my thoughts and tell you why I won't be including this shoe in my rotation going on and won't be able to get it to that full review. Quick disclaimer before we get into the review is that Hoka did provide me with the shoe for the purpose of review, but that does not influence my opinion. Anyways, let's get into it. Starting with the upper. The upper is a one-piece knitted mesh with a more traditional style heel. The medial side is knitted more densely to give you some more support, while the lateral side is more similar to Nike's stretchy Flyknit. I found that the denser part wasn't very comfortable and was a bit too stiff, but my main issue with the upper was the fit, especially around the heel. So in every single Hoka shoe I have, I've been a 12, but in this one I went down to an 11.5, and the length was decent. It was a tad tight, but I thought that would help with the heel slip that was going on here. There isn't a lot of padding around here to kind of help hug it in. Plus, there aren't any additional eyelets kind of further up, so you can't really get a nice lockdown around the heel. Plus, the knit is like so stretchy that even at the beginning of the run, if you really crank it down, towards the end of the run, it's pretty common for that to kind of loosen up and cause some more heel slipping. So while I liked them switching it up and going for a knitted upper, just they didn't get the heel locked down right at all, which was pretty much my main issue with this shoe. Let's move down and talk about the midsole. The midsole uses compression molded EVA with a forked carbon plate right above the rubberized EVA outsole. So some Hoka shoes are super soft and pillowy and marshmallowy, and other ones like the Mach 5, they have that new ProFly X Plus foam, which gives it kind of that nice bounce, a little bit of energy return, and this has neither of those. I found this midsole to be super firm and super stiff. So typically I'm a fan of pretty much any Hoka I put my foot in, and I even liked the Rocket X, which was way softer than this shoe, but still had a nice responsiveness to it. This one just kind of felt dead to me, and after long runs in it, my legs felt kind of beat up. Unlike when I do the same runs in super shoes, I feel like my legs don't feel as beat up. I will say though, if you aren't a fan of the super bouncy super shoes, something like the RC Elite V2 or the Endorphin Pro 3, some of those shoes that might feel a little too trampoline-y, then I think you will like this one, because despite it not having that energy return and bounce, that responsiveness with the rocker does create a really snappy toe off and is still a fast feeling shoe. Let's move on to the outsole. So this shoe technically doesn't have an outsole. Instead, there's a piece of rubberized EVA that adds some extra durability. So even though this adds some protection to the shoe, it isn't the grippiest shoe at any means. It's pretty much only good for gripping on the road, and it also isn't the most durable, but I guess it is better than just an exposed EVA outsole. So now let's talk about the run type. So typically I'd go through and rate it based on speed day, everyday, long run day, and recovery day, but I'll just sum this up and say that this is only good for speed day in my opinion. It's good for picking up the pace and maybe even race day if, like I mentioned, that kind of firmer midsole is your vibe. And that rocker, that plate, that firmer foam, like I said, it is a snappy and fast feeling shoe, but I just found that the ride was kind of dead. It wasn't super energetic like other running shoes, and I wouldn't use this for easy day, recovery day, even like I mentioned, long runs. My legs felt kind of beat up in this, so I think it's just kind of for speed days and maybe race days if this is what you're looking for in a plated shoe. Alright, let's wrap this up. So overall, the biggest issue I had with this shoe was the upper and specifically that heel lockdown. Other than that, I found that it was a decent shoe. It was definitely speedy and snappy, but I just prefer something that's going to be a little softer, a little more energetic, especially with all of these super foams we have today. Even just like their ProFly Plus midsole, I think would have been an excellent choice in this shoe, kind of like a plated Mach 5 or something like that. So one more dislike about this shoe is the price. So before, the Carbon X2 was 180 bucks, and that was a pretty good value. You got a carbon plate and a snappy shoe, and the upper on that one was much better than this one. But now they raised the price to $200, and at that price point, you can go up like $25 more and get a real super shoe that uses super foam, something like the RC Elite or the Endorphin Pro 3, or you can get other shoes with EVA or even TPU for less than this. By like 50 or 30 bucks, you can get something like the Magic Speed 2 or even the Endorphin Speed 3. So I just find it hard to pay $200 for something that isn't even a real super shoe. Even though it does have a carbon fiber plate, it doesn't have that super foam, which is a critical ingredient in a super shoe. So for me personally, the lack of versatility, the upper lockdown, and the kind of boring midsole ride just make this a shoe that's not my favorite, and I won't be including it in my rotation going further. However, I hope that Hoka next year revamps this shoe. They're revamping the Carbon X, adding super foam, making it a real super shoe. So I hope this gets a similar treatment, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Have you tried the Carbon X3? Are you on my side where you think it's kind of expensive, not on par with other super shoes? Or are you somebody that really likes a shoe that's not bouncy, it's stable, it's firm and snappy, and you actually really like the Carbon X3? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my new shoes and review videos. And as always, keep on running.